Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. Yeah, empath BB. I don't know. My computer was acting up on this morning. I mean, somebody was trying to hack into my computer. I don't know what was happening, but my time kept switching. It went to 11:45 p.m. First, it was at noon, and I was trying to make it earlier. Then it went to 11:40. It's just a lot going on, okay? Somebody just do not want me talking about this topic. I don't know. But anyway, we are here. We're here and you're here. And I'm so glad that you are. Thank you so much for coming on and to support the channel. For those of you that don't know, my name is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. And we talk about legal issues from the neighborhood to Hollywood. If you are new here, welcome. If you have been here before, thank you so much for your continuous support. If you would be so kind to hit that like button on the way in, because apparently, I'm not in the algorithm like that. I don't know. People are like, I don't get notifications. But also make sure that you hit the bell, okay? If you hit the bell, sometimes you have to unsubscribe and resubscribe. Hit that bell, and that's your notification, and you're supposed to know whenever I come on. However, I've had a couple of people tell me they don't get notifications till I am off, okay? Which defeats the purpose. But nonetheless, let me speak to some of you guys as you come in, so you guys have a let me see, the time to get up in here. Hey Steven. Okay, bro. YGB said, girl, your hair, thank you so much. Got the old school pin curls. Hey Alice, good to see you, sis. Miss Buckeye, Miss HLS, Marcus Terry, D Boogie. I see somebody was up here beginning just talking before I even came on. Listen, we're just following the case, all right? We're gonna see what happens on both sides. We don't have a bias one way or another because I don't know these people. Whatever happens don't affect me. I'm just saying. I'm just reporting something that is of significance to people that are out here. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Some of you guys take this so personal. So I went in my chat and people just going all now. I'm just deleting some of these comments because I'm cool with people having an opposite opinion. But when you get disrespectful about it, it just is not that deep. So to be like, I don't even know why you even brought you going y'all act, some of y'all act like you sitting down with Jake's team or something. You know everything that's about to happen, one play or another. Or on the other side, people act like they don't like they part of Duane's legal team. I don't know what is going on here, but we just gonna report as these documents hit, and then we'll report what the judge response is. That's all. Okay. And we hope at the end the scales of justice weighs in favor where it's supposed to weigh. So I need y'all to relax, okay? Get some tea. Get you some nice tea. And I need you to relax, okay? All right, it's okay. I mean, California, they got fires that have not stopped in 3 days. People have lost homes. They have lost their entire, basically, history of their lives. Businesses have burned down. Churches have burned down. I think that's a bit more important than, us fighting over people that don't know who we are. You know what I'm saying? Then we got our president getting sentenced today for a crime. I mean, what a time to be alive. I'm just saying. Just relax, all right? I'm sure there'll be other things that happen that you guys can get all rah-rah about. It's cool. Yeah, chillax. Ty said eat a gummy. Yes, just relax. It's okay. Promise y'all it's gonna be all right. I promise you, okay? I had to give you guys this pep talk because some of y'all up in my comments acting a whole fool. Y'all going off on me. I'm like, ma'am, sir, you shouldn't have no titles that even look like somebody might win. Listen here. My titles match the documents, okay? If you say a line up in that document, it might end up in my title. That doesn't mean I agree with it, approve of it, believe it's true, whatever. That's just the title. So just relax. I don't know these people. Whew. That's it. That's it. All right. Anyways, okay. What we got going on here? You said the breaking news would happen the moment I decide to get on earlier train back home. Hold it down. I got you. I got you. I got you. You know they was gonna file something. That's why I was waiting on it. I was like, listen here. They're going to file something in this case rather quickly. Yes, please hit the like button and support this platform. I appreciate that. Yes, mods, please, because so what you have here is you do have in situations like this, and you go through that when I've done coverage on some of these rappers and all of that. They have their own fans, and churches have their own fans too. I remember I did a small little segment on Marvin Winans because you guys know I'm from Detroit, and so I was looking at the half-built building for the last 20 years. I did something on that, baby. They was touch not my anointed. I need people to view things in context. That's all I ask people to do. Like everything should have a context. You cannot hold a scripture in a vacuum. Okay, one scripture. Know what the surroundings of it is. Some of these chapters, sometimes you got to read other chapters in order to know what the heck this chapter is even about. And it's not in chronological order for those of you that think it is. The New Testament is not in chronological order. Can y'all believe that? So therefore, there are some things you need to read before you even get to it to know why the scripture said what it said. But they were just coming for me, and God's gonna vindicate us, and you being used by the devil. I'm like, ma'am, sir, I'm just reporting that y'all got sued. That's it for not building on this building. That's it. Like you had 20 something years. What's up? But so when it comes to church, people they love their pastors. Okay. That's just like the young lady who was going viral because of the situation of the pregnancy that everybody was talking about. It's the same thing. Thank you, Shelly. And let me see. Thank you, Shelly. And I appreciate the cash out. But yeah, it's just like the young lady where mm-mm. Why my thing go out? I told y'all it's a trick of the enemy. My thing been going out all morning. Crazy things been happening on my computer. Thank you so much, Name Change. Thank you for gifting 5 minutes, 5 memberships. I appreciate that. Okay. Child, your screen went out because my screen went out. Sorry. Sorry. Guys can hear me now, right? Clark said, the whole Bible is not in chronological order except for in the beginning. Exactly. Jasmine said it's snowing. Let me see what you say. Y'all moving fast. You said yes, it is snowing in Atlanta. And so I seen some of you guys outside in the snow. You can tell when people not really, used to snow like that. Y'all be so excited. We haven't gotten snow yet. We're supposed to get snow. So that part. It said one day I'm gonna put my emails in a book. Listen. They trying to get me, y'all. I'm telling you all day. I couldn't do my little thumbnail. It kept saying, call Apple. Someone's trying to get into your computer. I'm like, what? So then I go on my phone and try to check and see if I can go ahead and go live from there. It's just been a lot. It's been a lot. They trying to get me, y'all. They trying to get me, but I'm not going to allow. It's a trick of the enemy, and I'm not going to allow it to prosper. I'm not going to. You guys be very, very safe out there, because I know you guys want to shut down the whole city when it rains. Y'all not used to no real weather like that. So you said in Michigan, we chilling, glad we exactly. I'm like looking at everybody with snow. We haven't even had snow yet like that. I'm like, it's supposed to snow today though. So we shall see. We shall see. Let me get this camera on my face. Sarah said it's pretty, but these folks gonna get in the streets and gonna be interesting. They don't know how to drive. They don't know how, like, people that aren't used to snow like that. I mean, even in Michigan, every winter, you always got people that seem like they don't know how to drive in the snow. And we all say the same thing, like, quit acting like this the first time you ever driven in the snow. We really don't know if they just moved here. We don't know anything, but we just assume if you were driving in Michigan, you've been here before and you know how to drive in the snow. So we get mad. Like, listen, we both can't come down this street. So we just gonna be sitting here playing chicken for an hour. Like, who gonna back up? Like, we can't, because it's snow on this side and snow on this side. Like, you seen me coming a block away. Why didn't you wait for me to come down the block and then you come up, so we won't have these problems, okay? Because it's snow on both sides. Like, we go through that too. We're like, you act like you've never driven in the snow before. Grown woman don't play. That's that same here in PA, Pam. Scorpio chick said, my mother-in-law's family is having a reunion in Detroit this July. I hope I can meet you in person. That would be nice. I wonder where they're having it at. Yes. July is the family reunion month for the people in Detroit. Jasmine said, I'm from New York, but I moved to the A and they don't have salt trucks or anything. They don't have snow etiquette. Snow etiquette. You hear that, Atlanta? You guys don't have snow etiquette. No, when they think it's going to be a snowstorm, they go in, they get all the water in the toilet paper. I don't know what it is about toilet paper. Everybody go in, they want to be able to wipe themselves or whatever. That's it. They go in and get all the water in the toilet paper. They panic. The lines are super long. It's so ridiculous. And then half the time it ends up not being as much as they say it's going to be, but it looks like they actually did get a nice bit of snow today. So it wasn't just a false alarm. I am here for the show said they do have salt trucks. Okay. Yeah, Sunflower said bread and milk. Yeah, you know how it is. They go in there and it's like, what? Hey, TBC, good to see you. Make sure you hit that like button. Sin said, I'm in Texas and the city is shut down. They got snow in Texas too? I'm so behind. Y'all be safe out there in those snowy streets. Sarah said, we have to borrow snow equipment from other states. Wow. Thank you so much, Pamela Kilgore. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this is what we here for. I done as much time as I could. Let me see. Let me make sure. I don't know why. Look, watch my screen sharing don't work either. Let me see. It's just a lot going on here. They trying to set me up, y'all. They like, no. What's the name of this file? 110. Let's see if it shows up. Oh, shucks. We got action. I was nervous for a minute because the first one went blank. So we had a response. So for those of you that don't know, again, I'm going to give a quick summary as I always do, very quick. It was a man named Duane Youngblood who essentially, thank you, Petty Petter, for the super sticker. I appreciate the support. So there was a young man named Duane Youngblood who went on a show called Larry Reed Live. And on that show, he decided it was called From the Abused to the Abuser. And he listed all of these series of events that occurred in his life that I guess he believes contributed to some of his behaviors, which led to him doing inappropriate things himself and doing prison time. Well, in the midst of that interview, he mentioned TD Jakes. I want to say it was probably a cool 10 minutes. I don't know. It wasn't even the bulk of it, but that part with TD Jakes was clipped, so a lot of people did see it. And so he made an allegation of which he alleges that he, at his young age, maybe 19, he was an adult, but he was like a late teenager, 19, maybe 20, I don't know. He says that he was, aspiring to be up there in the ministry. And so he was assigned to drive Bishop Jakes around, okay? And when Jakes went and came into town, he would stay at this lady's house. And so by this time, Youngblood said that he had endured so much from these different ministers and bishops and all of this stuff, people taking advantage of him. Now, Jakes wasn't a bishop back then. He was allegedly, he was an elder. So this was before he was a bishop. And so Mr. Youngblood used his mommy's car because he didn't even have a car. So he had to use his mother's car to travel and to take then elder Jakes around. And so he stayed at this lady's house, and they're sitting at the lady's big old dining room table, and I guess Youngblood is spilling out his guts, and he felt safe, with Jakes. And so he alleges that after the conversation, he tries to leave because he had to get his mommy's car back. He he had to get permission from his mommy. So he had to get his mommy's car back. And so he said, shoot, my mom gonna kick, let me get up out of here. So he said when he was about, now this is what he said, okay? And this was back in late 80s, I guess, early 90s. And so he said on his way out of the door, he alleges that Jakes attempted to kiss him. Well, Jake said, you are a liar and a deceiver. And so what Jakes did was he filed this here lawsuit of which he sued Duane Youngblood and 10 different John Does. But he alleged defamation and conspiracy. And in the conspiracy, he's trying to pin in the YouTuber, which would be Larry Reed. He's trying to pin in him in some type of conspiracy because apparently and allegedly, because I have not seen this demand letter, but Youngblood alleges that he was threatened by Jake's son. And so because of that, he alleges that he sought legal help. He said, I need some illegal help, okay? And so when he went to seek that legal help, it was Tyrone Blackburn. Now, we know Tyrone Blackburn because I have not been the nicest towards him. He may be an all right guy. But some of his cases he's, filed have been a little, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And so he was a part of, I think, the T.I. and Tiny situation. He represented the lady that sued T.I. and Tiny. He also represented Lil Rodney Jones, in a case against Diddy. And when he represented him against Diddy, he added a whole bunch of people like Lucian Grain and UMG and all of them, and they started going ham, okay? They started pulling up all of his background, and allegedly, this judge out there that was saying that he was purposefully filing in the wrong courts and they wanted sanctions and blase, blase. Well, after reviewing that document, with Lil Rod against Diddy and all those other people, Blackburn agreed and said, maybe you shouldn't be in this lawsuit. So he did dismiss him. But that did not stop UMG and all of them to try to get sanctions, okay? But the court did not give him sanctions. Now, that's one thing that he did win, that where the court did not give him sanctions on that case. But nonetheless, Blackburn has a little, got a little history out here where I was like, okay. And so, but Blackburn is an attorney over there in New York, and I believe he's licensed in New Jersey as well, if I'm not mistaken. He's not licensed in other states aside from those that I know of. He may be. I didn't thoroughly do a research on it. And so when there was an alleged demand of which Blackburn said, give me $6 million. And I guess maybe Duane gave some facts in there that he had maybe in anticipation of filing a lawsuit. I don't know. I didn't see the demand, don't know the crux of it. But TD Jakes said, this is just a money grab, and I'm not the one or the two. And so what TD Jakes did was he filed this here lawsuit in response to the demand and said it was extortion. And he felt like that other people were trying to get in on this $6 million. All right. But the problem is TD Jakes really doesn't he has a assumption, or he's speculating that this was a money grab, it sounds like, with other people involved, but he doesn't have that concrete proof, perhaps. So he just did the John Doe's. So what he did was he wrote a motion to the court to do an expedited discovery. And what he did with the expedited discovery is he was trying to get information from Larry Reed, because I guess he's trying to see, well, who all is in on this? I don't know. He said he alleges he knows there's some type of conspiracy, but yet and still, he cannot wait until the regular discovery that happens in every single case. He would like for the discovery to happen now. And when he asked for the discovery to happen now, Youngblood was not represented by anybody. He probably had Blackburn still on his side. However, Blackburn would need local counsel because he does not practice in Pennsylvania, and that's the way the rules go. So he wrote a letter to the court and said, look, I've been trying to find local counsel, blah, blah, blah. He never said specifically that Blackburn wasn't representing him anymore. He just said he just knows that, that he needs local counsel. That's kind of all he said. He added some extra stuff. He probably knew he was going to read it. So he added some extra information in there and all of that. And so he asked, can he have an extension so he can file a motion for anti-SLAPP? And the next week, like within a couple of days, I think he may have filed it on a Thursday, and then by that Monday, Jake's team responded, and they basically said he don't need an extension because he already got a lawyer, and this is a dilatory tactic. He really doesn't need this. Blase splee, blase splee. Well, on the same day that they wrote that objection to him having an extension, the court ordered that he be allowed to have an extension, but there were also a lawyer from Pennsylvania that filed an appearance. Okay. So we was like, okay, Youngblood has an appearance in. Okay. He got him some lawyers. There were 2 lawyers that filed appearances, but they were from the same firm. So even when you're in the same firm, you do have to have every lawyer in there that files an appearance. So we was like, okay, he got him local counsel. Well, the judge gave Youngblood till the 6th, which was this past Monday, to respond to the motion to try to expedite. All right. And on Monday, that's what happened. There was a long, unformatted, not properly for, I ain't gonna say unformatted. To me, I didn't think I could just look at it without looking at the rules, and it seemed like it wasn't properly formatted. There was a document that was presented, and I'm reading it, and he made some, he basically was saying he doesn't think the expedited discovery is necessary. He said that if it is, then he wants to be able to do it as well because he got some alleged victims that want to come forth. Yada 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 yada. Added some more little, stuff in there, some little carrots in there that was dangling for us to read. And so he went against it at first, but said in the alternative, sometimes if you ain't going to win on the first part, you just bring up the second part. So he said in the alternative, what I would like is that we do reciprocal discovery. So y'all caught up now? Because that's the whole story. That's where we are today, okay? Make sure you hit the like button. This is where we at right now, all right? Okay? Y'all talking about snowing. Y'all like, whatever, girl. We already know all of this. Okay. Let's move on. So now we get to this document that was filed on this morning. You guys with me? Stay with me. Stay with me, team. Stay with me. In this document, so according to the local rules, I presume, because I haven't really looked into them like that, because I have never had a case in Pennsylvania, I figure Jakes will want to reply to that because he was saying some stuff in there. And then he got a little smart in one of the footnotes. And if you guys recall, I said you can't be getting smart unless all your I's is dotted and your T's across. And I can see a few errors in this document. You know what I'm saying? Well, so what he did was, you have to get permission from the court to file a reply to the response. Because when the court issued the scheduling order for this motion, they didn't give a date for a reply. So there's an assumption that you can't have a reply unless the court allows you to. You have to get permission. So Jake's team is following all of the rules, and they know all of the local rules. Shout out to them for knowing the rules. So this is the document that was filed on this morning. And this is a motion for leave. So they're trying to get permission to file a reply brief in support of his motion for expedited discovery. And it starts out by saying plaintiff T.D. Jakes, by and through counsel, respectfully files this motion for leave to file a reply brief in support of his motion for expedited discovery, or in the alternative, for the court to treat the instant motion as a reply brief. So they're saying they want the ability to file a reply brief, but they actually put their reply pretty much in this respect, and this motion, to reply, if it makes sense. So if you say yes, court, if the court agrees to allow a reply brief, they can use this that we have in front of us as the reply brief, because the arguments that they want to put in the reply is what's in this that we're about to read. So this would essentially be the reply brief. Now, whether the court considers it will be up, of course, to the court if they grant it and allow the reply brief. Okay. So it said plaintiff does not wish to burden the court with extensive briefing on these issues. Nevertheless, specific representations by defendant Youngblood in his response in opposition to plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery are erroneous and or violate this court's clear rules and procedures. In support of this motion for leave, plaintiff states as follows. First of all, defendant Youngblood sets forth the wrong standard for review of plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery. So they're saying that basically the standard that he used for review on whether expedited discovery is appropriate was not the right one. Now, he did use a lot of unpublished opinions backing them up, which I told you guys is considered persuasive authority instead of binding. But what Jakes is alleging is that that wasn't even the proper standard that he used. So let's see. He says, it is clear the case law setting out the standard of review is clear. A court has, quote, broad discretion to manage the discovery process and can expedite or otherwise alter the timing and sequence of discovery. And in the case of motions for expedited discovery in advance of a Rule 26F, conference applies a good cause or reasonableness standard. And they're using a case, looks like it is unpublished as well, but it's the district court case, so I guess so. And that's from November 25th of 2024. And I guess they put that in their brief in support of the motion. Okay. In his opposition, defendant Youngblood claims that this court should apply a much more onerous standard, the injunctive relief standard, to request for expedited discovery, citing the Gucci Am Inc. v. Daffy Inc. That stringent standard includes factors like whether there is a likelihood of irreparable harm without discovery. But the very same cases defendant Youngblood cites for the proposition that the, quote, Third Circuit and district courts within Pennsylvania adhere to these principles, for example, Leon v. Tawanda and Burrow, state the opposite. In fact, rulings in the Third Circuit on motions for expedited discovery show a, quote, recent trend among courts in this circuit that favors the good cause or reasonableness standard to such motions and not factors like irreparable harm. And that's in Malibu Media. Defendant Youngblood's attempt to push this court to apply the more stringent standard reserved for injunctive relief and to rely so heavily on whether there would be irreparable harm to plaintiff if the motion is not granted should be rejected. As plaintiff motion makes clear, the proper standard has plainly been met. I think, if I recall correctly, Youngblood still did talk about good cause as well, but nonetheless, second, it is entirely improper for a New York attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, to have signed the filed response in opposition on behalf of defendant Youngblood. So now they're getting into the fact that he ain't even licensed here, basically. Attorney Blackburn has not filed for admission to this court pro hoc vice, did not represent in the filing that he would be filing for admission pro hoc vice, and as detailed in plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery, should not be granted submission pro hoc vice to this court because of the disciplinary proceedings underway in the state in which he is currently barred, New York, and because of the serious allegation underlying this proceedings. Now, what I will say is typically when you do have the intention of pro hoc vice, you do put at the bottom of it pro hoc vice pending or something like that. And he did not have that at the bottom. I don't know if that's really a rule, but I know that's what we do, and everybody else around me that I know have done it while you're waiting. So I don't know if he's filed anything or not. And he did not represent anything in there as if he filed, but he may have, who knows. And then the disciplinary proceedings, though, I don't believe that he has been actually disciplined for anything that I know of. So they're trying to say he shouldn't be allowed just because there are allegations out here, which I don't necessarily think is true. So I am going to, let me see here. Did I have it? I was trying to see what their criteria is to pro hoc in. Let me see. Let's see what that proves, because you have to do an affidavit when you pro hoc. So I'm gonna see what that entails real quick. Let me see. Thank you. Okay. So this is the affidavit you have to put in. So basically you have to file, you say I, so if it was me, I would say Pam Esquire, make the affidavit in support of the motion for my admission to appear and practice in this court in the above captioned matter as counsel pro hoc vice for whoever in the above caption matter pursuant to the local rules 83.2 and local rules 83.3 and 83.2 in this court standing order regarding Pro Hoc Vice admission dated May 31st of 2006. So I'll say, I, Pam Esquire, being duly sworn, do hereby depose and say as follows. I am a lawyer of the law firm Law Intellects. My business address is none of your business. I am a member in good standing of the Bar of Michigan. My bar ID number is blank, 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 blank. A current certificate. So you contact your bar and they give you a certificate of good standing if you've never had, if you're in good standing, and you attach it as an exhibit. Then it says, the following are a complete list of any previous disciplinary proceedings concerning my practice of law that resulted in a non-confidential negative finding or sanction by the disciplinary authority of the bar of any state or any United States court. So it sounds like you only have to submit a list of those previous proceedings that were not confidential and resulted in a negative finding or sanction. So just people saying you did something does not necessarily preclude you from anything. That's why they worded it in the responses. They don't believe that he should be allowed to practice in Pennsylvania because of his current pending alleged proceedings, which we don't even know nothing about. So. And then I attest that I am registered user of the ECF, which is the e-filing system in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. I attest that I have read, know, and understand the local rules of court for the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Based on the foregoing, I respectfully request that I be granted Pro Hoc Vice admission in this matter. I certify and attest that the foregoing statements made by me are true. I am aware that if any of the foregoing statements made by me are false, I am subject to punishment. So that's basically what you have to attest to. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Buckeye, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. All right. So that is what you typically have to do when you try, like you have an affidavit that you have to sign, you attach your certificate of good standing. And if you have been disciplined and it was a public discipline, not private, then you do have to disclose that. And they can make that as if, well, you've been disciplined there, we may not want you here. Typically, if you've been disbarred in other, like they tell you can't practice in other courts, sometimes they won't allow you to practice in their court. But nonetheless, let's get back to it. Let me see. So now basically he's going over again him not doing things right, Pro Hoc Vice up in there. Okay. Moreover, the fact that Attorney Blackburn signed the pleading proves that defendant Youngblood has had counsel since before plaintiff even filed the instant lawsuit. Therefore, his representation that he made at least as of December 20th, when he filed his letter request for an extension, a pro se defendant is misleading. That is not true. He did not have an attorney of record, and he was pro se until somebody files a record. So just because somebody believes that someone may have assisted or helped them does not necessarily mean that they had an attorney, okay? I think when it comes to this, because again, you have to look back at Jake's pleadings that he filed on the same day that the attorneys filed what they said. It made it look like the stuff that Jakes and them were saying wasn't lining up, and that Youngblood actually was, everything that he said was going on was really what was going on. So I think that's why that was added in there. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Third, defendant Youngblood's response in opposition openly flaunts the rules and procedures of this here court. This court has set a strict page limit standard for all briefs in support of and opposing all non-dispositive motions at 10 pages, because I think his was like 20. See Rule 2B, the Honorable William S. Stickman for practices and procedures. It was effective August 2023. That's why I said you can't be coming after people for certain grammatical errors and omissions or mistakes or whatever, unless your stuff is all the way tight and right. Defendant Youngblood did not seek leave to file a brief that nearly doubles that limit before filing. So if you want to go past this 10 pages, you have to get permission from the court to do so, just like what Jakes is doing now by seeking leave to file a reply. Because again, when the court issued the order that said the response was due on Monday, the court didn't give any dates for a reply. So they have to ask permission, okay, according to the rules. As such, the as filed brief violates the court's practices and procedures. For the above reasons, plaintiff respectfully seeks leave to file a reply brief in support of his motion for expedited discovery, or in the interest of efficiency, for the court to consider this motion as that reply. So basically, if the court is okay with it, what they just alleged were the deficiencies in Youngblood's response on Monday. If the court can consider this as a reply, that's cool. And that's pretty much it. Granny the Great, thank you so much for the super sticker. Alice, put your YouTube up in this chat. I need all of you guys to go over there so that Alice can get up to her 1,000 subscribers. Alice is a hard worker over here, and we trying to get her to her 1,000. So if you can go over there and subscribe, that would be pretty cool. Linda said in New Jersey we got some snow. However, the problem now is that the Delaware River is frozen and we are having water issues. This weather is tripping. Dina Stavis said, Pam Esquire, you are so smart and thorough. Enjoy listening to you. Stay blessed. Thank you, Dina. I appreciate that. I thank you so much for listening, Deborah, and being with me. I know this can get very boring, but I need you guys to know, all of the ins and outs of this, not just those facts that are alleged, because all of these are allegations. Anybody can file a complaint. Anybody can, of course, respond how they respond. And we'll see what happens when it goes before a trier of fact, which is a judge or a jury. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Val, for subscribing. We appreciate it. Of course, Alice, of course. You said they being petty. No, Lady D, that's what I'm saying is that before you start nitpicking someone else's pleadings, you probably should make sure that you got all your stuff together. His response did seem rather long, but again, I didn't look into their local rules. Like it's, but I told you all, they do have local rules of which they have their own rules that you have to follow. And as you see, on top of the federal rules of civil procedures, which is what's universal among all courts, you also have their local rules. And federal court doesn't play that. They're not like state courts. State courts, you can get away with a lot of stuff, but in federal court, they want their stuff the way it is. I remember doing a motion in federal court a few months ago, and on the other side, the judge was like, these sites at the bottom, like, who do you guys, these sites at the bottom are wrong. Like, they will check your cases and make sure they say what you say they say. Or they will check your sites and make sure they are legitimate citations. So that, I think, is going to also be an issue with a lot of people using AI. Because AI, I have a couple of AI like research softwares, and I honestly just do some of the stuff just to see. Usually I know the answer, and I just kind of see what their response is going to be to see if it's going to match up. So just imagine if you're a newer attorney, you come out here and you don't really know, and you rely on AI. Well, the federal court is going to find you out because they look at every citation. They make sure you follow every procedure that they have there. They will let you know if the procedures are wrong. They will let you know before you start your oral argument that you didn't do it appropriately. I know here we have to put at the bottom our word counts with Microsoft Word. that is in conformance. Our pleadings are drafted or they are formatted in conformance with our local procedures. You have to put all of that. You have to do certifications of that. It's no joke. That's why you have a lot of people that don't even try to practice in federal court. So I have people that they take a case and it's in state court, and then they're like the other party. So say you sue a corporation like Walmart or something. 9 times out of 10, they're going to move it to federal court. They don't keep stuff in state court, and they'll do it based on diversity jurisdiction. And so once it go to federal court, you'll get some attorneys like, hey, can you take this case? Because I'm not even though they're in the state, they're like, I'm not even sworn in to practice in federal court. And it's easy to get sworn in. Like once you get the state bar, usually it's easy to get into that state's federal bar as well. But some people just don't even want to go through the hassle. That's that. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, TBC. I appreciate that. She said, I am a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I try to be. Well, you do random topics one day? I'm confused about what's going on with Tia and Tiny Judgment. Are you talking about, I can do that right now. It's not, if you're talking about the OMG, if you're talking about the OMG judgment, I could talk about that now. I did want to go over, I know a few days ago with the Jay-Z situation, they did file a motion for sanctions like formally, but a lot of the stuff we've already went over on what Jay-Z's argument is. However, because they did add a little bit more, I may go over it, but I just wasn't rushing to do it because we went over that stuff already. And at this point, it's redundant. We know the house wasn't there. We know the Jumbotron wasn't there. We know the limos were roped off. We know he got pictures someplace. Like, we just know all of this stuff already at this point. So now it's just formally he's filed something for sanctions. Thank you. You just got your notice. See what I'm saying? I have been practicing for 13 years. Yeah, around about that. Oh, God, Jesus. Yeah, Naziah Harris is a very, very sad situation here in Detroit. They had a preliminary examination that was the 3 or 4 days, and it was a lot. It was a lot. I just couldn't. It was so long, and the reason why the preliminary examination was so long, it's a 13-year-old that is currently missing, and they believe that, I think it was the aunt's baby daddy, who was an ex-offender, had already done time for that. They think he did it. He obviously was having a inappropriate sexual relationship with her. All of that came up in text messages that were just sickening and horrifying to even listen to them read. He's done this to several kids. He has about 4 open cases right now as we speak. And she's still missing, though. And allegedly, I guess, he had sexual relations with his 4-year-old daughter. Like, he messed with his own kids too. And he had one with his 4-year-old daughter and actually gave her like a STD. I mean, it's just a lot. It was just so much. So I don't know. And the family, the family look a little suspect. I don't know if our prosecutor is going to try to come after some of them for, basically, the judge was right. Everyone failed that girl. She was 13, and it's just awful. Like, there's just no other way to describe the situation, but it was just awful. The grandma adopted her because the mom is a drug addict, I guess, roaming the streets. I don't know if the dad was around, doesn't sound like it, but he just recently died when she ended up coming up missing. It's been a year ago today. And so she's presumed unalived at this point. And so that they don't have a body. So it's just, the case just sucks. It's horrible. Yeah. And then also, so my issue was too, My issue as well too with that case is that I get it. She had family members that came on. There's another YouTuber, fellow YouTuber from here, who community advocates, and she does a lot of the cases here. Like she does stream a lot of Michigan cases. And she had some of the family that was on there, and the family that she had on there was actually, they allege, that they were trying to help. They had actually went to CPS, they went to the police, they were trying to get the young girl, the 13-year-old, and her brother. And unfortunately, nobody really did anything. I understood that, but my issue with that whole situation was this man had done a nice amount of time in prison. So he came out as an ex-offender. They say he wasn't originally put on the registry, but eventually he was. Now, the family that were helpful, because of course there were plenty that overlooked everything. The judge basically said the grandma who adopted him was a liar. Of course, the mom was on the streets. Just everybody failed this young lady. But the ones that came on this platform that I had a problem with was this man was on the registry. People at his shop, he worked at a car shop. People at this car shop saw young kids there. Nobody called his probation officer. Now, they said he hasn't had to report since 2019, or he hadn't showed up to report. The way I would have been at that office every day, knowing that this is the type of stuff that he's doing, there's just no way. So it's hard for me to say anybody did enough. It's just hard because the fact that he was on the registry, you could have called the police every day. You could have called when you went up to the shop and seen he was around kids, and then he still had more kids. He got like 14 or 15, and it sounded like he had kids to groom them, to mess with them. Like he's a straight sicko. And then their relatives, like their young relatives, he wasn't related. He had kids by the 13-year-old. He had kids by the 13-year-old's aunt. And from my understanding, the 13-year-old, when she was unalived, she was pregnant by this man. And the aunt was pregnant too. It's just crazy. So the theory is that he tried to do a self-abortion for her, and then it went to the left. And so he had to get rid of her. But they have not found the body yet. And so he was bound over yesterday. And when I tell you it was just disgusting and disturbing, it was just disgusting. Because I was trying to figure out what clips, if I were to cover it, because I couldn't do it all day because I work. But it was just disturbing. It was just very disturbing. Yeah. The woman he chose said an aunt knowingly sent that 13-year-old girl to his job to help him clean up the shop. Exactly. How do y'all know he is a registered offender? And y'all sending kids to go to the shop to help him clean up. Then the grandma, I guess she got on the stand and was saying, because I didn't watch all the testimony, but apparently she got on the stand and basically said, I didn't let him at my house, meaning the predator here. I didn't let him at my house. But then they got text messages where things of like he getting out the shower now, like he was at the house all the time. It was, y'all, I'm getting pissed now. It was just a trip. So yeah. Yes, very heartbreaking. So I don't know, y'all. Maybe that might be depending on how many members want to go over it, maybe that'll be it. But certainly if he goes to trial, which I think he'll be stupid to go to trial. Let me look up this man. Let me show you guys his charges that he has already. Let me see. Because he wasn't new to this. He was true to this. Okay. Because he's still on probation, or parole, whatever he on. I'm going to look that up too. Hold on. MT. What's his last name? Butts. Let me show y'all. So this is what he has pending right now. Okay. All right. So let's go to 2024. This is the 2024. We got one where it was filed April 17th of 2024. He got CSC second degree, person under 13. Okay. Person under 13. CSC second offense notice. So he got 2 counts and then he got his second offense. Then there's another 2024 case, which was filed September 26th of 2024. So this was filed just recently, and that's CSC first degree person under 13, CSC second degree person under 13, CSC second degree person under 13, CSC person under 13, just all of them. Okay. Then it's another 24 case, as you see, that was filed on November 1st of 2024. So we're talking about a couple months ago. CSC first degree person under 13, CSC second degree person under 13. Then we got a 24 case that was filed on January 6, 2025 in the 36th district. So it just got filed. And that's the unaliving. So that's the one that they just did, it looks like, right? The unaliving, actual abuse, commercial activity, actual abuse, second degree, person under 13, actual and this is the circuit court. So he probably got more in our district court, because how it works here is you go to the 36th district court and then they do a preliminary examination and then you get bound over to the circuit court. So I'm showing y'all the circuit court, what he got going on. Just annoying. Thank you, Bama Peach. Say happy Friday, Pam and Intellects. Thank you for the super chat. And then let's look at his little mug shot here for those that don't know what, because he is. So let's see. This is what he went to prison for before. This him. Okay. He ain't nothing but like 42 years old. All right. He's considered a probationer. Like when all of this stuff happened, his supervision began February 7th of 2024. So he don't get off till 27, allegedly. But I think he was on there before. So he has CSC on date of offense was November 29th of 2004. His date of sentence was 05 and he was discharged in 2014. So he did 10 years. Okay. Then he had a weapons felony firearm. So he always has, GUNs. Then he caught another weapons charge, it looks like, and he pled to it, and that was in April of 2023. See, he also was catching other charges unrelated while he was on probation after he went to, and he on the ex-offenders list. It just was crazy. The system failed him. Somebody probably gonna get sued, rightfully so, because this is ridiculous. So his supervision conditions were supposed to be no violation of any criminal law. He failed that. Not leave the state without permission. Monthly reporting. Allegedly, he ain't been since 2019, according to the young lady's family. Notify of change of residence. My understanding is he was living from pillar to post, from woman to woman. He'll knock them up and be at their houses. And that's how he's been staying, just from there, or he'll stay at his shop because he has a partner and they have some type of auto shop. That's where he meets most of his women. He works on their cars, and I guess he charms them, and that's how he gets in good with them. So yeah, that's this fool, this clown. Yeah, his sister. This guy's sister, I don't want to say his name, but this guy's sister, yes, she testified and she basically said she thought she saw but she probably also knew that her brother had a history of this. So when the young lady came up missing, the sister was like, she contacted the police and said, I think I saw her with my brother. Because she went up to the shop and she said she thought she saw her. So that's kind of what helped tip them to go in that direction, to that he was the one that committed the crime. Nope, didn't have a car or anything. He was literally using his baby mama, got on the stand. She was cool with the prosecution, but of course, when the defense gets on there, she got an attitude when she was questioned about certain things. Because of course, the prosecution is just trying to elicit specific information, probably to establish timelines. One of the baby mamas was alleging that it was some glasses that she found in her car or something, because he was driving her car and their son put it on his face. And so she said, get those glasses off or whatever. Or I guess the guy took the glasses from him or something. And they had pictures where they was able to see that the 13-year-old actually had those glasses. Those were hers. Then I think he called her and asked her to do some stuff or will get rid of some stuff or do so. This case was wild. I don't understand why he ain't just playing and getting on with it. Because it's a wrap. I'm referring to is Shannon, the girl's mom's sister. Oh, okay. I don't really know. I ain't see Shannon, so I don't know. I just know the grandmother got roasted by the judge. And basically says the only truth she told was what the girl had on that day. I was like, dang. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch all. I did not watch. I didn't have the opportunity to watch all of the testimonies. So, yeah, they reported it to the school. It was a lot of people that didn't take it seriously, and it may have been she was 13, and people was talking about, oh, she acting fast and saying stuff like that. The way she was talking was like she was 50 years old with how she was talking to this man. But it was, sometimes you become who you're around, and it was really obvious she was subjected to seeing, if not experiencing, a lot of stuff, probably even before this man. And some people are saying that he groomed her, I guess, and she was like 11. So I believe at first they said she was 13 when it started, but I think they amended the complaint to say she was 12. So she's under 13 now, which makes it worse because of how they were able to look at the text messages and review the age that she was. And she would say things like, he would just text her and be like, are you going to, basically up me up, like orally. And she would be like, all right, or well, is that all we gonna do? Or can I come up? Can I get some? And I like, she was really talking like, it was crazy. Let me see if I can pull the text messages up. So I was like, whoa. Y'all really gonna make it where I ain't gonna get monetized off this little video. Let me go to Judge Sabri's courtroom. Was that the last day that she was? No, that wasn't the last day. That was trying to see. Trying to see if somebody cut out the text message part, because y'all wouldn't believe it. If you ain't watch it, you wouldn't even believe it until you saw it, because I was listening to it like, what just happened? This was 3 days ago, so this ain't her, but this the lady though. And then he sat up there with his head down the whole time with a mask on. It's like, don't hide now, bro. I'll tell you. I'll do what the. Let me see what the. I'll go to tell y'all what the judge said. Let me see. So y'all can see it.
Today is January 9th, 2025, exactly 1 year, from the day Desire Harris disappeared. Before I get into the charges, and the main charge of premeditated first-degree murder, I have to speak on Desire Harris and the community who failed her. And I'm only presented with certain evidence. I don't know the whole story. The attorneys know more than me. The family knows more than me. But from what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given the adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is. I don't have any mention of him in her life, no presence. To Cordell, aka King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including Desire, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up the shop. The school counselor who never showed up, or the person who was supposed to show up if that counselor was absent, after Desire was on the floor on the day she went missing, saying that she needs to speak to someone, and speak to a counselor. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was over the years, because this was not just a one-year thing. There are text messages at least from 2022. To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable. I understand why the people put her on the stand to establish Desire's residence and the houses on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that Desire was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid. I do believe she adopted Desire. I do believe that she had 6 kids in the house. I believe that Desire had on a dark hoodie the day she went missing, and that she had on red and black Nikes that day. What is hard to believe is that the defendant never came into the house as she testified. And there was also a minor that testified that he did as well. Text messages that showed between him and Desire that he did in the basement, saying he was going to the shower, stealing her panties. He was always lurking around that house and asking for Janiyah and Zaniyah, from what I know. I even thought about the breakfast routine, saying that all the kids like eating breakfast at school. Did they have a choice? I don't know. But to always send those girls up there to clean up the shop raises questions. And how were there 2 women in that house who have birthed children themselves who did not notice that Desire was pregnant, and I believe she was, and not having her period anymore? But then after hearing text messages today, begging Jarvis for pads as if she didn't have anyone else to give them to her. And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand. And she learned around 6 p.m. that Desire did not come home from school, and said she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear, without emotion, or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from Desire going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for Desire, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police.
So whoever said about Aunt Shannon, the judge said Aunt Shannon ain't had no emotion. So I'm not sure about. The only emotion I saw was from Jarvis's sister, who actually was crying and boo-hooing on the stand. But again, I didn't watch all the testimony. But according to Judge Sabri, it sounds like she didn't give any, in her opinion, she didn't give much emotion either. So even though this girl is missing and presumed dead, none of her family was even seeming like they had emotions. They were giving testimony almost like a robot, like they really didn't care.
A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either. They were both able to go to sleep at night without hearing from Desire or having any indication that she was coming home at night. And of course, the defendant, who I will get to in a minute. I don't know who else failed Desire, but the community did. As far as the people establishing probable cause, I will focus on count 1, as it's been stated that there is no contention with counts 2 and 3. In count 3, I will amend based off of the motion and the testimony I heard that Desire was 12 and not 13 at the time that Jarvis Butts had sexual intercourse with her. The prosecution is correct. You do not have to have a body to establish first-degree premeditated murder. It would have been a much shorter exam had her body been found, but this is where we are. In the last 365 days, no text messages. We all heard today and yesterday that she was very active and frequently texting. No social media for a year. We heard the testimony that she was also active on social media. No phone calls, which she was also able to do according to testimony. No physical sighting of her by anyone. She never came back to school. No one has seen her. Medical records dated from July 2014 to October 2023 indicated that she had no life-threatening medical issues that would lead to a natural cause of death. The black hoodie found in the area of 7 Mile and Bird with her DNA and blood on it. The holes in the hoodie consistent with some sort of struggle, violence, or weapon being used. And we know that there were no holes in that hoodie when she wore it to school. We saw a picture of her in a black hoodie on her last day that everyone saw her. I do believe her grandma testified truthfully about the sweatshirt that she had on and that was practically new. And the border agent who said that no evidence of animals would have destroyed the clothing or the shoes to possibly lead to animals tearing up that hoodie.
So what happened is, I guess when they did a search over in the river for her, they found like shoes and all of that. But some of the stuff, of course, they didn't keep all the evidence that they found, because you can't keep every piece of, not, well, they didn't know it was evidence, but every item, I guess would be the best term, that you found. But then it was like a picture of apparently whatever the shoes were that the mother, the grandmother and them said she had on wasn't the same color or something, that it was a different color. So what they found were her belongings. They found her ID as well, and they had some blood splatter. It was just a lot going on in this case. But I'll be shocked if he goes to trial. And then they're probably going to, if they don't find the body, perhaps they'll try to see if he'll take second-degree murder or something in order to show where the body is, if he'll tell where the body is, because that's a closure thing for the family. And he got all these other cases, so if he gets convicted of those, then he ain't getting out. So
the clear glasses found in the blue Nissan the day after she went missing. The behavior of the defendant when he snatched those glasses. They looked exactly like the glasses she had on in her last picture, according to the witness. The shoes that her brother described as the same shoes that were found also in the area of 7 Mile and Bird near the hoodie. While this is still probable cause, the evidence all points to Jarvis Butts. His locations, him being seen with her last, the abortion searches, the abrupt silence between the two of them in text messages, and the constant lies he told throughout the entire investigation. And they were proven to be lies with text messages and other testimony. We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on Isaiah. Then went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up. As much as I want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she's dead and that she was murdered by Jarvis Butts. Mr. Butts, stand up. You've been sitting over there for 4 days with your head down, getting between and behind your attorneys, with your mask on and taking vigorous notes. I want you to pay attention and listen to everything I have to say. I have been trying to figure out for the last 5 days, you. At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning of this exam. And then maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old, and that's why you were doing such things. But as I heard more and more testimony, you're just a true definition of a pedophile. Watching you laugh and brag about all the women you have with different women and the children and the girlfriends, and making babies to groom them and having them in your presence, cleaning up your shop, and the little girls around you, has landed you here today. You groomed Isaiah. You played mind games with her. We all heard that. You controlled her emotionally. She was exposed to so much at such a young age. The text messages between you two were disgusting to hear. And to think that she had you saved in her phone as a babe for life. Isaiah deserved so much more. And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you were the monster in this whole picture. She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like. Your children deserve more. As much as defense counsel has raised issues on count one, all that has done is raise the question of fact for the trier of fact, which means that this will be for a jury or judge to hear it Thursday. I pray for the healing of all the victims and the young girls and possibly boys who have come into contact with you. As a community, we should look at this case as a prime example of how much work we have to do when it comes to protecting our children and especially our Black girls. I pray for closure and healing for all those who have been traumatized by it. And for you, Jarvis Butts, I wish you a speedy trial and that justice be delivered. Your bind over date is January 16th at 9 o'clock. Anything else for the record?
No, first we go, Judge. Thank you.
Stop for the fence. Thank you, Judge.
Do the right thing and tell us where she's at, please. I'm sorry, Judge. Just do it, Jarvis. Where is she at, Jarvis? Just tell us. Judge, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect your court.
You all can turn off the cameras, please.
So as you guys see, yeah, they don't even know where the body is, and that's the family just, crying out for him to at least tell them where the body is. It's a lot going on. Yeah, it's a lot. That's why I said to y'all gonna have me up in this mug tearing up. Crazy. But yeah, so I'm thinking again with this case, if it goes to trial, then I don't have a problem streaming it, but it's very graphic. It's very, sensitive, very triggering. And yeah. So I think again that's what I would do if I was the I mean, he already has, I don't know, he's a habitual, so whatever he gets is probably gonna be life anyway. So it's like, just show us where the body is, and then maybe you get an outdate in 2090 or something. I don't know. Maybe he just, because I don't see the reason why this preliminary examination was so long is because they have to do a timeline and put everything together, because it's a circumstantial case. They don't have a body. If there was a body, then they could have a medical examiner come up and say that it was a death and, it was shot, so they can say there actually was a death. But in this case, she's presumed dead based on all the evidence that they've been able to collect. So Brenda said the judge eloquently lit everybody up. Sure did. Told all y'all, you guys all suck. Okay, all of y'all, she tried to be as respectable as possible. But I know it was hard. I couldn't, like I said, I don't even know how I would have been if I actually had to listen to those text messages, like why they were happening and seeing them for the first time. I don't know. Let me see if I can find it. Cause she doesn't usually, she got this still up on her YouTube channel, but typically she don't even. Let me see if this lady is who's on here. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can find it before I go. I'm trying to see if I can find these text messages. And I have to do it on a different live. Let me see. I don't know if this will be the beginning of it. Let me see. Let's see.
There's several kitchen knives in there throughout the cart, various sizes. There was the weapons that were inside his home. And I believe that was as far as any weapons there might have been. Witnessing happy birthday.
Starting with People's Exhibit 15. The messages from 313-379-5882. Do you have a copy with you?
I don't have a copy of that.
Oh. Can you read the messages that were sent from that number to Jarvis Blunt's number, or I guess the messages that were captured within People's Exhibit 15? Including the dates and approximate times.
So the first message is September 24th, 2022 at 22:15 hours UTC. She sends, Bald and Janaya, come here.
And that's two numbers, that's not Mr. Butts.
Correct. And the next message is on September 27th, 2022. All of these dates are from 2022. So September 27th at 1:37 a.m. UTC. It is sent to Mr. Butt's phone. We witnessing happy birthday. Immediately after that, at the 17-second mark, again to Mr. Butt's phone, it says, come on. On that date, September 27th at 1:52 a.m. Another message is sent to Butt's phone asking, you okay? September 27, 2022, 1:54 a.m. She has sent a message, where are we doing it at your choice? Immediately following that text, a message is received to Nizaya, to this text now number from Mr. Butt's phone that says, you tell me. 9:27, 1:55 a.m. A message is replied to Jarvis, says basement. 1:56 a.m. A message is sent to Nizaya from Mr. Butt's phone that says, you sure? At 1:56 a.m., a message is sent to Nizaya from Desire to Mr. Butts saying for job. At 1:57 a.m., the message is sent to Desire from Mr. Butts' phone saying, "Can you suck my dick, please?" The message immediately following that from Mr. Butts' phone to Desire, and make sure you erase the messages. Still September 27th, 1:59 UTC. A message is sent to Mr. Butts that says, "Okay, that is what I planned to do." Another message is immediately following that at 2:01 to Mr. Butts. "You turn me on just looking at you," and then there's a bunch of letters with possibly it's maybe an image that was sent that doesn't capture any messages. 2:02 a.m. Desire sends another message to Jarvis. "What time to be in the basement?" 2:03 a.m. he replies and sends her a message that says, "Go change your clothes and take your panties off." Desire replies to Mr. Butts and says the letter K. At 2:10 a.m., so 7 minutes later, a message is sent from Desire to Jarvis's phone. "I hear you. What are you looking at?" Jarvis replies back immediately to her saying the letter U. At 2:13 a.m. UTC, still on September 27th, Desire sends Jarvis a message that says, "I know, I'm finna sleep good." There's another message directly after that that has a bunch of symbols, so I'm not sure if it was one of those little emojis. 2:14 a.m., she sends in, "What about you?" The next message she sends in immediately after, "Sometimes I've been wanting to live with you." 2:16 a.m., she sends to him, "You know what I mean." 2:18 a.m., she sends, "What time I'm ready." 2:23 a.m., she sends to Mr. Butts' phone number, "We not doing it or what?" 2:23 a.m., Desire sends to Mr. Butts, "I really want you." This is still on the same day, September 27th, 2022. This is now 2:23 a.m. UTC time. Mr. Butts replies to Desire, "Yes." 2:24 a.m. Desire sends, "Pull your car down the street and come back. I'll be waiting." 2:25 a.m. Jarvis's phone replies back to her, "Come ride with me and Nye, N-I-Y." 2:25 a.m. she replies, "Did they say I can come?" At 2:30 UTC, she sends him a message that says, "I'm sorry, but love you." 2:30. UTC, he immediately replies back, "Come on." 2:31, Desire replies, "I can't, I'm gonna get in trouble." The next message is at 2:35, she sends, "When you come back, drop Nye off, pull your car down the street and I'll come in the base, I'll be waiting." Then immediately after that, she sends, "Basement, please." Jarvis replies, "Okay." At 2:40, Jarvis replies, "You in the basement yet?" Immediately after that, Desire replies back, "Yeah." Now we are the next day being, it's now September 28th, 2:28 a.m. UTC. She sends Jarvis a message that says, "Are we doing it tonight? I'm ready, fresh out the shower." Next message is a reply from him to her. Well, this is September 30th now at 1:25 a.m. UTC. He replies, "Yo." September 30th, 2:59, she replies, "You coming over?" She then sends another message directly after that, "Don't have school." At 3:07, a reply is received to Naziah from Jarvis saying, "Yep." She then replies, "Okay, we'll be waiting." At 3:17 a.m., he sends another message, or I'm sorry, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, "Text me when you get here." At 3:21 a.m., this is still September 30th date, Jarvis replies and sends a message to her saying, "Outside." Now we have skipped to September 30th, but it is now on here at 23:13 hours UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis saying, "Hey, you coming over?" The next message is now October 1st, 2022, 1:51 UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis asking, "You coming?"
Are there any other messages to Jarvis after that? Mr. Buzzsaw. Okay, and now, do those indicate whether or not they were deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And which? How many of those were deleted? Or how many of them were not deleted? That's a better question.
Looks like all of them are deleted except for the one where she was very beginning. She had actually texted somebody else, which I believe might be Shannon's phone, trying to say, "Well, they can come here." But all the messages.
All right, y'all. I think you get the picture. It's a very awful case or whatever. So it's rough. It's very rough, you know. So we'll follow that. What's over in circuit court now. Like I said, the way our processes work here in Michigan is once you are arrested and there's a criminal complaint, you go over to district court, of which you have a probable cause conference. Then you have what's called a preliminary examination, of which is the lowest standard that you have, which is that a crime was committed and you did it. And so typically, a lot of times that gets waived, especially if they think that the prosecutor may add more charges, because sometimes they'll go through everything and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, we could add this." So sometimes they'll use it to add more charges. So a lot of people waive it and you go over to felony court, which is our criminal justice system center. I'm sorry, it's newly built like in the last year. And you go over there for the felony arraignment over there, and then you start your process over there. But in this case, I guess because there was no body, the attorney felt like, okay, well, we'll hold them to their probable cause, which is the low bar. So sometimes you don't hear a lot of these preliminary examinations because they waive them in some of these cases. But then also they usually are faster, like the judge said. The reason why it was so long is because they didn't have a body. And plus, it's a high profile case. A lot of people were watching, as you saw the cameras that were in there. I just posted like from her Zoom. So that's that. So that is the Naziah case that a lot of people have been talking about. And again, that's right here. We have another case that's been going on recently where there's a young lady who came up missing. She was the mother of a couple of, I think she had 2 children. And they just arrested her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend. So he's being, right now, it's just lying to a peace officer, which means he's basically the prime suspect. They had to find something to arrest him on, and he's on $250,000 bond. So we got a lot of stuff going on here in Michigan too. So it ain't just Fulton County, you know, even though Fulton County, you know, still be having us beat, but yeah, it is. But anyway, thank you guys so much again for spending your lunchtime with me. I appreciate that. I hope there was something that you took from this conversation regarding the legal process, that you learned something. And if you could be so kind, again, I may come back tonight and talk about Jay-Z now, because I didn't go over that. Also, Tasha K had she had to respond because, you know, she's in bankruptcy over the Cardi B situation. So that was another thing that happened this week. And she basically was saying that Cardi B is trying to use the dismissal of her bankruptcy to try to get her to stop talking about her, period. Like using it as a way to like restrain her freedom of speech type deal. So she has something going on. Fonnie Willis, she just lost some attorney fees for not turning over some documents. So she got to pay someone $21,000 for not turning over the Opens Records Act. She had some Opens Records that she refused to give to, I think it was a news organization. And so they sued her, and you know, the consequence when you lose, you got to pay costs and attorney fees. So Fonnie then took her another L. So it's kind of been a busy week, you know, it's been a busy week, and hopefully we'll get to that. But in the meantime, in between time, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll holler at you next time.